Good morning.
Good morning.
Few know what my biggest success in life is. The thing that I've mastered down to making it an art and a science. Procrastination. A procrastinator is one who habitually delays and puts off doing important things. Maybe you are a procrastinator. Originally, the label worked well for me. I used it to kind of beat myself up or give myself excuses when things didn't work out. If there was a fail or a flop, I'd say, oh, that was due to my problem procrastination. But I was able to flip that and turn it around. I want to talk about power versus powerlessness and how the way we think and labels we use and the energy and vibration that we put toward anything is what really makes power or powerlessness. Because we're so used to thinking that it's conditions, physical, material situations that either make us feel and have power like it's a thing that we can hold on to or not. Whatever your organization style, let's talk about it. And let's think about this topic a little bit. We know that this is a time in our history when things are strange. Global leaders are acting a bit like pirates. And even nationally, there can be some things happening that might make some of us feel like we can't freely speak without repercussions necessarily. So what can we do? What can we do? Let me tell you a couple of stories. So one story is back to the Vietnam era, and there was a commander, and his name was Paul Van Ripper. Now, when Paul was just a boy, he was in his car, and his father was reading the newspaper, and the newspaper said the Vietnam War is ending, and they're going to send the Marines in and clean it up and make peace. At that moment, he thought to himself, I'm going to grow up and be a Marine. So that's what he did. He grew up, and he went to Quantico, the Marine University, and he really studied how to be an officer and the best soldier that he could be. And one of the things that he learned was that to get the respect of the people he was leading, he had to be willing to do the same things that they were willing to do. So he would have to be on the front lines if he wanted other people to be on the front lines serving. He tried to show by example. So if he thought the best view was from the middle of the river, he would just dive in, swim there, and get the best view. He didn't send one of his soldiers into the river or look from the shore and think, oh, this is good enough because I'm going to send them, not me. He was doing it. He was doing it alongside. So one of the things that Von Ripper learned at the university to be an officer was from an author that he met there, and his name was Gary Klein. Gary Klein had wrote this book called Sources of Power. So the book Sources of Power was about how first responders used their intuition to guide them so that they could quickly make decisions and save lives and know what to do and not overthink it and lose lives. in these emergency situations. And on the battlefield, when you're helping someone, you have to quickly help them, or you're going to be a goner too. So he really liked the ideas from this Gary Klein in the book. So he started practicing them more and more. And in time, he decided and believed that it was intuition and something called extrasensory perception, or ESP, that really saved him many times on the battlefield. So one time, he was known as being so confident. So there was a story about one time, over the radio, they got a report that 121 Vietnamese were headed to their position. And at his position, there were only 9 soldiers. So the radio dispatch said, "Do you want us to send more response troops to support? You just have 9 for 121. He said, "No. We'll call if we need additional troops." He said that because he wasn't concerned. He had a feeling that it would be okay and that they could handle it. And in fact, they did. He didn't need to call for help. And time again, he found that trusting a feeling and a vibration and just sort of using his sense gave him this power. And so he told a story of one time he had that feeling. I'm sure you've had that feeling when something's wrong. We have feelings when something's right, but we also sometimes have a feeling, don't we, when something's wrong and we're trying to figure out what is it and how important is it for me to pay attention. So he had that feeling and it overtook him. So he knew. So he said, "Let's get out. Let's get out. Let's go. Get out." So everyone in his platoon got out of the building. And the second they did, the floor collapsed beneath them. They didn't know it, but a fire was silently burning in the basement, and it had just reached the floor, the wooden floor, and was starting to catch. And right as they walked out, it engulfed it and fell. So that was just one story. One story. So he was known to be respected and to respect others. And they felt powerful like he did. So some things are going on in the world and maybe in your life personally that feel threatening. You might have worries. This could happen to me. I could get a disease. I could lose my source of income. So many things, they might happen. What if this? What if that? It can really make us feel overwhelmed and angry sometimes when we think about a lot of scary things that we're not happy with that are going on. But there are things during this time that can make you feel so much more powerful. One of the things that struck me when I read about it was from someone named Professor Dean Slade. Dean Slade is a professor of law at Seattle University, and he actually wrote about this, and he made a children's video, and what is called is the Mutual Aid Project. So it turns out there's something called mutual aid projects. And Dean Slade holds that systems have overlooked the individual in our society. So that, what does that mean? That means it's up to us as people to take care, as civic participants, of each other. It's up to us as people to bring life-giving services and aid to one another. And not just through symbolic acts like putting pressure on our governmental representatives or other things of that nature, but actually forming new social relationships, new bonds locally that will survive if there's any chaotic event like an earthquake, a flood, whatever natural disaster, or even another election, whatever it is. So these mutual aid projects are fascinating. We know that if something happens like a flood, they pop up. Overnight, all of a sudden, there's people with sandbags, people are lining up, they're rescuing each other, even before there's any public service, aid, any ambulances, any fire trucks. People are there for people. Think about our community. There are projects everywhere that pop up. And it's empowering when you think about yourself, not being so vulnerable and alone. And when you think about what can you do, what do you do? What can you do? You can do a lot. There are, as part of this, things that have popped up like when people are falsely arrested. And if they don't have the economic means to defend themselves, there are community bail funds. Community bail funds so that if you're arrested, you can focus on your defense instead of just being imprisoned. Or there's also something called rapid response teams. It's another mutual aid project. A rapid response network is in place throughout this country so that if there's an ICE raid, they can let someone know that it's happening so that people can prepare and contact their family members so that if they're in captivity and they're in prison and they don't have that one phone call, someone knows to go to their house and take care of their children. So there is a lot more that is happening in this country, and it's just starting to grow, these different kinds of mutual aid projects. And it's not charity, it's solidarity. Charity is the idea of top down. That's the power and this is the powerless, right? We're gonna give to you and there's conditions. You have to do this for, but the mutual aid project is horizontal. It's holding hands. We're helping each other. So what mutual aid project do you think that is needed in your community that needs to be started? Even a church with fellowship and with a garden where there's people weeding and planting together, there's people talking and having coffee and food together, that creates a space where people can get to know each other and find out what it is they can do to support one another. It's really important to have that time and that space. So talking about social justice projects actually makes a lot of sense. Spiritualist churches and the Quakers were a part of the Emancipation Proclamation movement. Even Abraham Lincoln had mediums in the White House when he was president. Spiritualist churches, Quakers, they were all part of helping the Underground Railroad, helping the women's vote, labor laws, all of it. So what we have here when we gather is potential for mutual aid. It's really exciting. So you are not alone. We are not powerless. It's a vibration. We are together. And we care. We care about one another. So I've come to understand about this procrastination thing that I've had it my whole life. And I've worked in an office where there's a lot of therapists who've gotten to know me as a friend, and they said, not only are you a procrastinator, but you're a time optimist. A time optimist, another label. But what that means is that I often think I have a lot more time to get something done than I actually do. And it sounds really bad and like it's a huge problem, but it's worked out for me. So many things we beat ourselves up for work out for us, and if you look at them from another direction, they're our strengths. So how I've taken procrastination and made it something that works for me is that it has forced me to quickly understand what has to happen. Just like Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, just in a second, if you take it down to the last minute or the last day to get something done, and you're open, you can ask for spiritual help, you can figure out and feel the answers really quickly in a way that, for me, I couldn't know how to do something 2 weeks earlier if I had gotten a jump on it. So it feels great. It's almost exhilarating to get something done quickly that you don't know how to do when you open up to it because you have to and it has to happen. So I've grown this muscle, this ability, and I think it's spiritual as well. What do you have about you that you think is a deficit? And can't you think about it as a strength? I challenge you to do that. So as I conclude words today, I want you to just remember that Spirit encourages you to bring your best moral self forward. And what that means is that try to be honest. Try to watch your words, think about them before you speak so that you don't hurt someone. Try to do things above board instead of things that are shady. And try to show up being easy to get along with when you're interacting with others. You know, none of us are perfect, and we're gonna make mistakes and fall down, and we probably will offend somebody once in a while. But we are always able to reform. The doorway to reformation is never closed. So if you can hold that about yourself, you can hold that about others. And you can know that you are an eternal spirit. You are an eternal being. So that anything anyone tries to do to you or say about you or make you feel, they really can't get to you. Like the MC Hammer song, Can't Touch This. You really can't touch this, the eternal you. And if you keep that in mind, you will feel so much more powerful. You will let someone cut you off in traffic and smile. You'll just think, oh well. Hopefully you'll get to your destination on time, even if it's watching Batman reruns. Bless you. And so be it. So be it. And so if we can, instead of being exasperated, passive observers of what's messed up in the world around us, if we can, let's all try to exercise our power and notice what we are doing and what we can do, and be inspired builders. Be inspired builders of local projects, local aid. Together that way we can make up a world that we're craving, and we can make it up with people alongside us that we really like and respect. I'll end with a quote. In order to be less worried, stop believing in authority and start believing in each other.